Hi guys, and welcome to another video. This is going to be the first video where we're going to feature a particular car from the collection. In front of us we have the Alfa Romeo 177 from 1979, driven by Bruno Giacomelli. Now, Alfa Romeo were a very successful team in the early years of the Grand Prix racing, dominating the championship, starting Enzo Ferrari's career, having drivers like Ascari, Fangio, people like that behind the wheel of their cars. In the late 50s, they kind of disappeared off the scene, and in 1977, Alfa Romeo looked to return to the Formula One World Championship, initially in partnership producing the engines for the Brabham team, but Alfa Romeo had already expressed an interest in returning themselves. So the first car they were going to build was this, the Alfa 177. Now, the name 177 is Formula One 1977, essentially, but this car debuted in 1979. The major impact, or the major reason for that, was because of ground effects being brought in by Lotus. So the car was being designed in 1977, and as with a lot of teams, with the sort of development of ground effects racing cars, all their designs that they had became completely irrelevant, and this is what happened to the Alfa Romeo team, which at this point was Auto Delta, who were running the motorsport side of Alfa Romeo. So they had to scrap their plans and redesign the car. The car that they ended up producing was the 177. The 177 was not a very successful car at all. It had all sorts of issues going on it. One of the biggest things is the Boxer V12 engine. Now, a lot of the teams struggled to make Boxer engines work. Ferrari had one, Alfa Romeo were the other team to produce a Boxer engine for racing in Formula One. And with ground effects, the Boxer engine was deemed to get in the way and impact that. Ferrari sort of went a half and half between ground effects and just all-out power in 1979, which worked to their advantage. Alfa Romeo didn't really achieve a lot. In fact, they had to bring out a new car halfway through the season, the 179, which equally wasn't that successful. Not helped as well by the fact that the Alfa Romeo engine wasn't a particularly brilliant engine in Formula One in that period. Brabham actually dropped the engine in 1979 to go back to Cosworth power. So as you can see, the car it didn't really succeed. It was flawed from the start, really. Its design was never really going to work, and it left the team with a lot of work and catching up to do. By the end of 1980, I think the team had made some progress with the 179, but here the 177, with its very sort of snowplow front end, it never really quite worked as well as a lot of the competitors. But 1979, most of the teams were still struggling with ground effects. Even Lotus were actually struggling. The teams that sort of succeeded were Williams and Ligier. As we can see, this model, I paid $3.99 essentially for this, then plus the postage. It's not the most detailed model in the collection. It's a fairly simple car when you factor in the bodywork hides pretty much all of the interest. The bottom of the car is just flat bottomed with the exhausts. We've got the three radiators on the side, or intakes. I don't know which way around they actually are on this. The wheels are relatively well done. They're two-tone, but it is a very boring red paint job. It's not the most exciting car, which is probably why it is only $3.99. It's not a very successful car either. There is a livery that is a bit more interesting with like white as part of the design. I think this is the car that raced at, I want to say Zolder, but I could be completely wrong. It was a do not finish. It wasn't a particularly successful car, like I said. But it's an interesting car to have in the collection. It is also interesting that they decided to model this car twice in this collection, considering it raced about 3 times. Niki Lauda had a lot of negativity around this car. He tested it for the Alfa Romeo team and was not a fan. Brabham also was not happy with Alfa Romeo entering Formula One because he thought it was going to distract them from the Brabham project. But of course the cars shared the same engine and neither car had any success. But here we go. This is the Alfa 177 as produced by the Pannini Collection. A very basic model, but an interesting one to add nonetheless. And like I said, you can score it for very little money. I paid $3.99 I've seen it go for 99p, if I'm honest, on bids. So a good starting point. Thanks for watching. Hopefully catch you for a next video. And yeah, let me know which one you would like me to do a review on next. Is there any cars that you're looking forward to me trying to find for my collection? And yeah, catch you for the next one.